So what I get a sense of for the main energy of this week is actually Mercury going retrograde, and the actual reflection and realization and desire to start to, there's a beginning of starting to make new connections, changes, etc. through what has been uncovered, revealed in a lot of ways. But ultimately, it's this reflection on ourselves, how we can make change. It's what it kind of really feels like to me. Just a reminder that this is a global mundane reading and not at all a personal or sun sign astrology reading. I do not do sun sign astrology. So let's jump into the chart here and get started for the week. Of course, we're going to start on Sunday, February 22nd, and I forgot to put the chart there, so we're just going to go back. So, Sunday, February 22nd, and on this day we're going to have Mars in sextile, where are we here? Sextile to Chiron. The Mars in Aquarius. I get a sense of it's still relating to a lot of like this Epstein stuff as it relates to wounds, how we've been hurt, basically in our sovereignty, but what I get a sense of how we've been like mistreated or almost like thought that we didn't matter, or like that we would never find out about their bullshit or something like that. It's related to that kind of stuff. And this Mars in Aquarius is almost like rallying up action in a way to not ever let it happen again, but also for progressive change away from this. And what I get a sense of as well is, remember, Mars rules Aries, but it's it's like that masculine energy. And in the sign of Aquarius, it's this aspect of changing that masculine to a better version, right? That's not going to wound or hurt people. That's not going to do that kind of stuff. It's holding that energy or those people accountable, because obviously from what we've seen, at least at the time that I'm recording this one on, what is the date today? What's the date today? It's Friday, February 13th. So, where there's like a lot of men involved doing a lot of dirty things on an island. Of course, was women that were shown in the Epstein files as well, and who may or may not have been victims, or I don't know. The whole thing is just a fucking mess. But what this shows is like it's a lot of dirty men who have been running the world, but it's about changing that masculine energy, okay? It's about realizing that men need to change from this old way of being into something new, okay? Not all men are bad. It's a lot of men are forced into a certain societal construct of how they're supposed to be or how they're supposed to act based off of very negative bullshit kind of things. Toxic masculinity, basically. And an outdated form of the patriarchy. Now, patriarchy doesn't have to be bad. Patriarchy can be positive if there's a positive reflection of masculine energy. Same with if it was a matriarchy, the matriarchy could be used in a negative way as well, but it could also be used in a positive way. But I think what we need, in my opinion, and I kind of feel this as well, we need to step away from that one or the other kind of a thing and focus on more everyone collectively as a unified whole, as humanity, and moving away from these outdated views of gender roles and behavior, right? And that whether it doesn't matter what's between your legs, we should all just do our best to try to be good people, to respect each other, even if we don't like what the other person does or is or whatever. It's letting them live their lives. I live my life. As long as you're not hurting anybody, who cares? Okay, that's kind of where we need to get to, but there's a lot of forced and manipulated division based on a lot of things, and I think we're going to start to kind of see that stuff. But that's kind of related to this Mars in sextile to Chiron, is there's this outrage, and this Mars also relates to anger as well, this outrage based on how we've been hurt and wounded. I almost want to say as a collective too, and that I'm getting that through that Aquarius energy as well, as the multiple people connection, disconnection that the people, the collective kind of an energy, and how we've been wounded through our own sovereignty. Again, that Chiron and Aries energy here, and how that's enraging us, and rightfully so in a lot of ways. Okay, we're also going to have Venus here. Let me pull it up. Venus in trine to Jupiter retrograde, as well as there's going to be, where are we here? This quintile to Uranus here, now direct. Now let's do trine, Venus trine Jupiter. What I get a sense of is Jupiter retrograde, especially in Cancer, is like bringing our home back, as in bringing back to us what was rightfully ours and not used and abused by these corrupt people, whether it's part of the Epstein files or any other like corrupt politicians or whatever. It's bringing that back to us. I get Venus as like the people involved here. Is there anything else to this? Can we get a bit more maybe on like the Venus and Pisces part of it? I get this magnetic pull of like coming back to us. That's what I get, is like there's a magnetic energy as it relates to the Pisces, sign of Pisces. What I'm being reminded of is Pisces is that aspect of like going with the flow, and that you kind of just follow the path where you're led, and things kind of, as you follow where you're led, things kind of show up on that path that you need as it comes. It's like things flow to you versus the opposite, right? So that's what I'm getting, is that more of that magnetic energy, is it's pulling this back to us, is that Jupiter retrograde is bringing back to us our home, what it truly is, and not leaving it into the hands of these people that have wanted to, yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. There's Venus in quintile to Uranus here. We can see it here on the chart. It feels humanitarian, but it's just hard to articulate. It almost feels like a collective pull of energy, the collective wanting to enact really positive change. It's like coming together, but it's from a collective way, but it's almost like pooling resources, right? Because we're dealing with Uranus and Taurus. Taurus is like physical, like resources. There's like pooling resources together to come, like, but this Venus, this Pisces energy feels so elusive. Like, it's just, what is that Venus and Pisces in relation to this? It's almost like that naturally attracting the right people to come together to pool resources to do this. It's that magnetic attraction again, regarding the right people and stuff involved. And I think I said this when Venus came into Pisces, this would be like people slipping in and out of positions. It's like people sliding just into the right place at the right time. It's like coming, like I said, going down that path, flowing down that river, and you just follow it, even though it's a winding path. You don't necessarily know where you're going, but you feel to go there, and things just show up for you. That's what that is. It's just, Pisces is really hard to navigate sometimes, guys, because it's something that you just have to trust, and there's that magnetic attraction and pull. It can be really hard to like put into practical terms at times, because it can be anything. All right, we're also going to have the Sun here in semi-sextile to Pluto, and a semi-square to Juno. So what I feel with that semi-square to Juno is there's endings of commitments and contracts, whether this is business contracts, economic stuff. It's not really economic. It feels like more like association stuff, commitments, contracts, regarding a lot of people. And whether that could be like politically, just who people are associated with, that kind of stuff. There's that I feel with that mutable energy of Pisces, that those things are just coming to an end. Like it's really changing, like they're coming to an end. What was once committed, because Juno's in Capricorn, what was once committed is just, it's like, no, it's that mutable energy of Pisces that's just bringing it to an end based off of what has now been seen and known, or those kinds of things that have come up in that way. Now, with that semi-sextile to Pluto, what have we got here? There's depth to what has come up in terms of seeing and understanding the true depth of things that is not only intense, but really pushing for that transformation and change. It's that combination of Pluto mixed with that Sun in Pisces. Pluto rules Scorpio, but there's that deep, facing the depths, facing what you have to face deeply to its core, and also that Pisces energy of maybe what's been hidden, what's been the deception, all of that stuff, and that's combining together. And now Pluto's in Aquarius, and it's really pushing for change. It's like it's using what's been discovered, what's being seen, and what I've said about that Sun and that Pluto with that Pisces Scorpio Pluto energy vibe, and using that as a catalyst for a progress and change in an appropriate new direction. Okay, so that's Sunday. And just a reminder again that because this is happening on a Sunday, a lot of what I've said maybe on a Sunday could still be coming through, right? Because it depends. When I say Sunday in North America, it's Monday in other parts of the world. But because it's Sunday in North America, some stuff may not come through to fruition or be the story fully come out, maybe until like Monday or Tuesday or something like that, right? Because there is that waxing and waning period with the aspects as well. So just know and understand that. But also because Sunday is a weekend. Okay, let's move on to Monday the 23rd here. And we actually have nothing major peaking on this day. So we're going to move to Tuesday the 24th. And of course, the only thing on this day is going to be this quarter moon here. So we've got the Sun in Pisces and the Moon in Gemini. Now, this feels like revelations again, like this moon in this Gemini energy as it relates to the Sun in Pisces, this communication regarding what has been hidden, what is coming up. There's more communication, more talk about this kind of thing. And this is a square that's really pushing to talk and bring this stuff up in whatever way is what that really feels like to me here. Okay? So that's for that quarter moon on Tuesday, okay? Let's move on to Wednesday the 25th. I'm sorry, but I was just totally confused because on the app that I use to list the transits, I'm going to show you. It actually shows, hold on here, Mercury conjunct Saturn. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. Oh my god, I disappeared. But right at the top of the list here, you can see Mercury conjunct Saturn. And it shows Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. But that's not accurate, because Mercury goes retrograde at 22 degrees of Pisces on Thursday. And you can see in the chart here, Mercury's at 22. I have no idea, and if I go into the app, it's showing here, conjunction aspect at 0 degrees of Aries. I have no, but then it says Mercury's at 22 degrees Pisces, but Saturn, I have no idea what is with this thing. And then it's saying Mercury is also conjunct to Neptune. That's not true. I just want to check all the other aspects on this day. I do this on the fly like this, guys, and this is really weird. Again, I'm getting a sense of because I'm recording this in Mercury shadow, and sometimes the shadow is worse than the retrograde. And of course, we're dealing with technology and things like that, and this is a Mercury retrograde in Pisces where there's things that I just maybe don't make fucking sense. And this doesn't make any fucking sense. Because it's like, how is this even possible that it would show up like this? I have no idea. This is the weirdest thing. Venus does in fact semi-square Pluto. Okay. This is so weird. I almost have to like double check this thing. Venus, yeah, okay. Fuck me. Oh my god. Sorry, but it just like, that is the weirdest thing. Okay, I'm just gonna ignore everything related to Mercury on this day, and let's just do the couple other things on this list. And then I'll just have to be mindful of what I'm watching for here. Because it literally says the next day Mercury goes retrograde, and if I go into it, it's at 22 degrees of Pisces. So it can't be conjunct Saturn. And I'm literally seeing it here. I'm sorry, this is just, this is one of those, like I said, it's weird Mercury, shadow, Pisces, kind of, I don't know. This is just, whatever. Because I'm looking at this list and I'm looking at this and I'm like, what is going on? And I'm checking dates and I'm checking, like, do I have the right thing here? Ugh, this is just weird, guys. This is really weird. Anyways, I do these videos on the fly to get guidance that comes through on the fly based on the week. So just so that you guys are aware, I don't really, like, that's why I follow the list of aspects like this, to make it easy for myself, because I'm just doing this on the fly as I do it. You're getting the guidance as it comes, I'm not like pre-planning any of this shit. Anyway, Venus in semi-square to Pluto. So, excuse me, oh my god. It feels like changes and transformation regarding a lot of people. Changes surrounding people. People leaving places, leaving positions, all those kinds of things. I get this mutable aspect of Pisces with Venus there, that change, of course, with Pluto in Aquarius, that idea of transformation and that progress change that is occurring with that is like, it's really pushing for that. People need to leave their position, switch, change. There's a lot of that that's going to be going on related to a lot. I get the sense of Epstein files, and also maybe what has been related to that, or could be other things too in relation, but there's a lot of people leaving position, shifting, changing, etc. Okay, ignore all the Mercury stuff that's listed on this day. And then we're also going to have, let me check. Okay, it's right, Sun in square to Black Moon Lilith on this day as well. I still get a sense of this globally outcasted behavior, but it's through whatever has come to light, through whatever these hidden aspects are that have come to light and how we've been outcasted, but it feels like it's being dealt with. It's like this Lilith energy isn't something, like it feels like how we've been outcasted, but it's like it's not gonna take it like that anymore. It's like the Lilith energy is now asserting itself in a positive, powerful way and being like, okay, we feel like this, but it feels like there's a lot of countries, a lot of people in a lot of countries that may not have known the depth to which things were occurring and are now like, holy shit, this has to change. I'm being drawn to, again, to this mutable aspect of this Pisces energy and the mutable aspect of Sagittarius as well. In terms of, okay, we're not going to be outcasted like this anymore. This stuff has to change. And I feel like the reason why that's not being outcast is because of that mutable energy, hence that positive expression of that Lilith energy asserting herself, but in a positive way. And I get a sense of, because of that Sagittarian energy, but also because we're dealing with this on a global level, it feels like more in relation to countries or political figures involved in those countries, involved in, okay, we can't put up with this, like it's almost in a state of shock, almost in a lot of ways in terms of what is revealed, but what needs to shift and change in a lot of ways here as well. Okay, so let's move on to the 26th. And of course, this is when Mercury is going to go retrograde. Okay, we can see 22 degrees of Pisces, 22 degrees, 33 minutes is when Mercury will go retrograde in Pisces. Now, I think there's a lot that would happen during the shadow period, so remember that what happens during the shadow period is going to be reflected again during the retrograde as well as in post-shadow. So be mindful of what comes up now, as it's probably going to come up again and again and again until I think April 9th is when Mercury leaves shadow. Post-shadow, it goes direct, I don't remember, sometime in March, but then it doesn't leave shadow till I think April 9th. So we're in this for the long haul. Okay, Mercury retrograde. It's really focusing on what has come up. What has come to light, come to the surface, and really just processing it, dealing with it, how we've been deceived, used, abused, all those kinds of things. We're really going to be beginning to... Now remember, Mercury's retrograde for like roughly 2 to 3 weeks. I don't remember. How long does it... I should know this. I think it's like March... Is it March 20th? I have it in my notes. Let me just check here. Mercury goes direct. Yeah, March 20th at 1:32 p.m. Central. It goes direct. Okay, so I was right. Haha. I remember something. So we have roughly like 3 weeks-ish of really reworking, relooking, and going over this old stuff. It feels like it's almost like a solemn time is kind of what it feels like. A very serious reflective time, especially with Mercury and Pisces. Reflecting on, like I said, how we've been deceived, but it's also this sense of going within as well, in a lot of ways too, collectively. But yeah, it's definitely about going over what has been uncovered so far in the shadow period and how it's a period of reflection. It's an honest period of reflection, really. We're also going to have Chiron here in sesqui-square to the south node and semi-square to the north node in Pisces. So north node in Pisces, south node in Virgo. I feel strongly with this sesqui-square. What has happened to hurt us will not ever happen again. And it feels like we're going to make sure it will not ever happen again. And with this Virgo energy, it's what we once thought was practical, the practical structures in our world and how it functions, etc. They need to change. They need to be let go of. They need to change. And it's almost this forced movement into this new positive direction going forward into Pisces. But it's an unknown direction. It's an unknown path. We don't know where we're heading because everything that we've known and believed in has kind of turned out to be a lie, right? But with this sesqui-square, this really pushes for resolution. It's something that can't be swept under the rug any longer. And with these wounds and changes, it's like, no, we're not going to fucking let you do this again. This is not happening again. These old things aren't happening again. And it needs to go away, even if the new direction is completely unknown. Okay, there's a strength to this Chiron energy in Aries with this sesqui-square to the south node to literally be like, no. There's a very strong no to that old shit, and it just needs to go away. We're also going to have Venus here in sextile to Juno. Didn't I? Hold on a sec. Oh, that was Sun semi-square. I'm like, I talked about something. Sorry, I'm like, I don't know what the hell is going on this week, guys. Maybe this is related to this. Okay. It feels like it's the same energy with what I've talked about. I feel like I've talked about this before, but I just looked. Anyway. I don't know why I feel like I've talked about this before already. But I just looked and it didn't. I thought I did, and now this app is weird. This whole video is weird. Everything is weird. It's just weird. Everything is weird. Okay, Venus sextile to Juno. Okay, this feels, okay, it's relation to what I talked about before, but for some reason I thought it was the same aspect. But this is new people creating new connections and new commitments and partnerships, but this feels like in a more positive way, based off of the reflection that is going on, what was going through and understood now from what has come out, what has been revealed, whatever. Okay, there's been an ending of old partnerships and such, contracts and such, and now there's like new people coming together in committed partnerships and contracts, but this feels a lot more positive and not like the old ways in which things have been done. Okay, let's move on to Friday the 27th. Let's just get this week over with. This is when we're going to have the Sun conjunct the North Node and opposite the South Node here. I get a sense of this is very much highlighting our path forward. Getting rid of what needs to get rid of with that opposition to the South Node, those old practical things that are no longer serving us, and really strongly highlighting the new path forward. Even if it seems completely unknown to us, like that Pisces energy, we just have to follow the path and trust, even though it's completely unknown to us. Because we realize what we have known was all a lie, or was manipulated, or was meant to hurt us, or all these practical things that we once thought were stable and real and built on something that they weren't. And now we have to move in a new direction and create new things, and we don't know how it's going to work or how it's going to function, but we have to move in that direction anyway. Right? That's what that feels like to me. And of course, the Sun, as it's conjuncting, is going to be in a semi-square to Chiron. And what I get a sense of with this is we're not going to let what hurt us in the past happen again as we move forward in a new direction. And that's why it's a new direction. It's completely unknown to us, because we no longer want these wounds hurting us ever again. Right? But it's like using that anger of being mad at how we've been hurt, betrayed, etc., and really honestly pushing that highlight of that North Node forward as well. Right? Because Chiron is still in that sesquisquare to the South Node too, where it's like saying, no, we're not dealing with this old shit anymore. It needs to go. Right? We're moving in a new direction, and the Sun is highlighting that, being in conjunction to the North Node there. Okay, we're also going to have Mars in square to Uranus. What I get a sense of, we're dealing with large aspects of change, and this feels like a shift in money and economic change. It feels like who has the power over the money, or who controls the money. There may be certain rich people that we may no longer want to have the power and control. We've realized that they've had it and they shouldn't have it. And that power dynamic now needs to shift in whatever way. Okay? So there is this action towards progress and change with that Mars in Aquarius, towards new powers of money, new economic holdings of money, new who controls the money kind of a thing. Ultimately, it should be the people that control the money and not a select few or governments or whatever. But this is taking action towards shifting and changing a lot of this based on what we've known, based on the while reflecting on these things and then enacting these kinds of changes, etc. Okay, we're also going to have, okay, this looks to be correct, a Mercury thing here, but let me just double check. Okay, Mercury Retrograde conjuncting Venus. Okay. Let me just, when does that actually, oh, not till like midnight or whatever. Okay, so let me just see. I'm like double checking all of this. I really don't trust any of this shit anymore. Let me just move ahead and then, Can I go? Okay, never mind. It looks like it is going to happen. Okay, so I'm just going to move the chart ahead. I'm going to manually try to confirm what I'm talking about here. Okay, it looks like there is a conjunction that occurs. Whether I trust the time this is telling me or not, sorry, I'm really like, based on what it's shown before about this, I don't trust this fucking thing as much anymore, and I need to like double check my work here. And like I said, I do this on the fly, so you're seeing me do this. Okay, but Mercury conjunct Venus. This feels like people talking in private about things that have occurred, reflecting on things that need to change, that kind of stuff. Doesn't feel like it's going to come out, but it feels like there's a sense of like private talks going on about a lot of things kind of behind the scenes. It deals with that Pisces energy behind the scenes. This feels like a lot about what's been going on. It doesn't feel negative. It feels based around this aspect of hurt, aspect of deviousness or deception that we've all realized, things like that. And now it's being discussed almost like in a secret way, and how we can get out of it in a lot of ways too. Okay. Let's move on to Saturday the 28th. I've already advanced the chart here, and there's nothing major peaking on this day. So we'll just kind of end it here for the week. So that is the end. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. I do appreciate you. If you want this personalized in any way, I do offer personal readings. Okay, all those links are in the description below, or you can head on over to my website at mysticalmark.ca. And if you need to reach out to me in any way, you can DM me on Instagram or TikTok at mysticalmark_ on both platforms. Those links are also in the description below. Thank you all for watching. Take care, and I hope to see you all in next week's video. Bye.